Welcome.
The views expressed in the following program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of SAUGA960 AM or its management.
Live from Toronto to the world.
Josh!
This is Josh Holiday Live. Talk that rocks.
The public needs to be informed.
Josh might surprise us.
Got an opinion? Dial 647-6YO-JOSH.
When you hear him, you're like, what?
Josh Holiday Live starts now.
Yeah, hello, it's Josh Holiday, and I'm live. You can get in touch at 647-696-5674. That's 647-6YO-JOSH. We're actually going to play a little later in the show an angry voicemail we received at that very number. Going to play some comedy from a friend of mine, Sandra Battaglini, has a new comedy album out. We're going to interview a guy named Keith Kittle. He's a self-help guru, apparently speaking at the Skyline Hotel this weekend. Going to help you figure out your life. But first I thought we would talk a little bit about Halloween. And at first I was thinking, I'm going to feel a little bad for doing Halloween 5 days after the event. But as long as there's still decorations on trees and doorsteps, as long as people are still eating leftover Halloween candy, I can serve up leftover Halloween stuff that we missed on last week's show. We did a special Halloween edition of the show, interviewed a local witch, interviewed a guy from a haunted house, a low-budget knockoff haunted house. You can hear that episode at joshholidaylive.com or download on your favorite podcatcher, Josh Holiday Live. You search and all the episodes pop up there right on your podcast app. So, top 10 horror movie villains. Who, according to survey, are the top villains? Let me count down. The Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. Norman Bates from the classic film Psycho. Regan McNeil, who you may know better as the girl from The Exorcist. Chucky. Pennywise the Clown, though they don't specify which version of it they're referring to, although I imagine it's the more recent one because that was a pretty creepy clown. Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, classic. More psychological one here, Hannibal Lecter. And the top 3, counting down. Number 3, Jason Voorhees from the many Friday the 13th movies. Michael Myers, not from SNL, but from the Halloween movies, wearing the inside-out spray-painted William Shatner mask. And if you think to yourself, you'll probably come up with the last one because it's one that's become a big part of pop culture. Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street series. I actually, years ago, got to interview both Wes Craven and Heather Langenkamp, who was the lady, the girl from the first Nightmare on Elm Street movies. And she was so sweet, such a lovely lady. And Wes Craven, kind of a genius and just a really, really friendly guy. I think it was because they had done a new Nightmare on Elm Street revival, and Heather was reappearing, and they were doing a remake thing. So that's the list of that. I thought it would be also interesting to look into how your favorite Halloween candy got its name. Now, we don't have, in Canada, Three Musketeers, really, no one talks much about Three Musketeers. But in 1932, the Three Musketeers bar was originally 3 smaller pieces with chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry mini bars. So they were called the Three Musketeers, although in 1945 it became a single chocolate nougat candy bar. Milk Duds, they were intended to be balls of caramel covered in chocolate. And back in 1928, when they were trying to make them, they were struggling to get them perfectly shaped into little spheres. They stopped trying, and they gave the chocolate name Milk Duds for the milk and the chocolate caramel, and for the dud of their irregular appearance. Snickers. Snickers was introduced in around 1930, named for one of Frank Mars's family horses. Although when Mars looked to export the Snickers bar to the UK, they learned the word Snickers rhymed too easily with knickers, and so it was named as the Marathon bar until 1990. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Farmer, an employee of Hershey, Milton S. Hershey, Harry Reese, began selling his own chocolate and peanut butter treats that he made in his basement in 1928. Called his candies penny cups and sold them for 1 cent. The name changed, and so did the price. I have to give a plug, not paid at all, but there's a certain kind of peanut butter cups that I love. So good. They are, I found them in Starbucks before, but I've also seen them in some grocery store. Justin's. They're dark chocolate with peanut butter, and the chocolate is really thick, the dark chocolate. The peanut butter tastes great. I think they're organic, so yeah, they're delicious. Tootsie Rolls, quite popular with the kids who came to my house this year. Leo Hirschfield named his pseudo chocolate candies after his daughter Clara, who was nicknamed Tootsie. He had a candy shop in Brooklyn making the hand-rolled chewy candies in 1896. And the idea was creating some chocolate that didn't actually melt. So, Jolly Ranchers. I haven't really seen Jolly Ranchers handed out as Halloween candy, but they were created in 1949, first sold by the Jolly Rancher Company near Denver. The name symbolized friendliness and the spirit of the American West because they could be sold all year. Jolly Rancher hard candies became the focus of the company by the early 1950s. So that's some Halloween stuff. And I also didn't get to play. I dug into the record bins, very, very deep into the record bins, to find something I used to own on cassette many years ago. Count Floyd of SCTV fame, Joe Flaherty, put out a record. It was back in the 80s, maybe 80. I think it's the 80s because I was pretty young, but I had the cassette, and so I'm going to play a little Halloween song from that right now.
Scary stuff, huh, kids? Count Floyd here, and I'm going to tell you a scary story, kids. Once upon a time, not too long ago, on a Halloween night, two love-struck teenagers named Debbie and Dwayne decided to go parking and watch the submarine races. Well, at least that's what Dwayne told Debbie.
We don't want to hurt you. We're not that unkind. We just want to frighten you right out of your mind.
Now, Dwayne and Debbie were parked in the car, steaming up the windows. And little did they know that lurking nearby in the bushes was a deformed maniac. He had one eye up on his forehead and the other eye was below his cheekbone. And I'll tell you, it was pretty tough for him to get fitted for glasses. They still talk about it down at Harry's Optical. Oh, that's pretty scary stuff so far, isn't it? Admit it.
We don't want to hurt you. We're not that unkind. We just want to frighten you right out of your mind.
All right. You know where I'm coming from. Big. Anyway, to make a long story short, Debbie and Dwayne, who were in the midst of a dry run, suddenly felt a cold chill up their spines, and they decided to peel out on an impulse. Thinking they were safe, they pulled into a drive-in restaurant and ordered a couple of burgers. And the waitress said, "Well, that's all right for you, but what about that wall-eyed maniac in the back seat?" Oh!
We don't want to hurt you. We're not that unkind. We just want to frighten you right out of your mind.
I'm coming home now. Listen to me. All right, in that drive-in, needless to say, the maniac just went crazy and killed everyone there. The waitress and everyone, the Debbie and Dwayne. It was terrible. And you know, to this very day, if you look real hard up in the Allegheny Mountains, driving by in a subcompact car, is that ugly maniac with the eyes all over his face. And on the windshield of the car is a sticker that says, "Have a nice day." Oh, have a nice day. Don't you get it? The irony of the whole thing. See, Dwayne put the sticker on and he didn't even have a very good day at all. It's a true story, I swear. All right, so it wasn't scary. Polly, quick, pick up your axe and hit me with a solo.
Oh, that is Count Floyd. Very rare Halloween song from SCTV's Count Floyd. It is Josh Holiday Live. Our telephone number is 647-6-YO-JOSH. You can call that number anytime. Even when we're not live, you can leave a voicemail like an angry lady did not so long ago. We'll play that call later in the show. But next up, we're going to talk to a man named Keith Kittle. He's doing he's got something called The Concept, and he's appearing this weekend near the airport. We'll talk to him in just a sec.
Hi, this is Greg Carrasco from Oakville Nissan, and those who know that if you're looking for a brand new vehicle, if you're looking for a used car, if you're looking for parts, if you're looking for service, if you're looking for a conversation or even a hug, there is only one place that will provide you with all of the above. Oakville Nissan is the home of the no commission salespeople, and there is where I live. And since I have no life, come and see me. There's something happening here at OakvilleNissan.com.
Calling all hockey fans. The holiday season is fast approaching, and the Mississauga Steelheads are hosting their annual Toys for Tots game on Sunday, November 27th at 2 p.m. Fans who bring an unwrapped gift or make a cash donation will receive a complimentary ticket to a future game and 10% off Steelheads merchandise at the bait shop. Help the Steelheads, Peel Regional Police, and the Salvation Army make a difference for Mississauga families in need this holiday season. Head to MississaugaSteelheads.com or Ticketmaster to get your seats today.
Gavia HomeoCare has been a trusted provider of homeopathic care for over 20 years. Any age group from children to old aged, and from new diseases to the old ones like allergy, asthma, hair loss, skin disorders, headache and migraine, male and female health issues, digestive disorders and piles, mental health issues, heart problems, or for any acute or chronic diseases. Call 647-760-2779 or visit GaviaHomeoCare.com for more information. Gavia HomeoCare. Healthy lifestyle starts here.
In a country as prosperous as Canada, everyone should have a real and equitable chance to succeed. But low-income Canadians are struggling to make ends meet. Prosper Canada helps to connect vulnerable Canadians to the supports they need to get back on their feet financially. But we need your help. This year, for Financial Literacy Month, Prosper Canada has launched the Every Cent Counts campaign. And we invite your support. We want every Canadian to live their best life without the burden of worry about whether they will have enough money to pay rent or afford food this week. Make a difference at www.prospercanada.org/everycentcounts.
Stream us live at SAUGA960am.ca.
Josh Holiday Live is in your ear.
We want to be heard.
I want you to hear me out.
Got something to say? Call 647-6-YO-JOSH now. On Twitter at Josh Holiday. And visit JoshHolidayLive.com.
It is JoshHolidayLive.com. Yeah, well, the show is not called .com, but it is Josh Holiday Live. As promised, we're going to chat with someone named Keith Kittle. We just got a press release appearing at the Skyline Hotel this weekend. He's got apparently lots of books and something called The Concept, and we got him on the line. Keith?
Hey, how you doing, Josh?
Very well, thanks. We got you on the line. Are you excited for the weekend?
Well, you know, when you're as busy as I am, you don't notice the difference between a weekday and a weekend. But if you tell me that I'm heading into a weekend, then I'm excited about that.
All right. Well, it is Friday, so
wow, I can't believe it. It's like I woke up 5:30 a.m. on Monday. And now here I am on Friday. Incredible what a full week will do to your schedule.
It's true. So your series of books is about something you call The Concept.
That's right.
And how many books are available?
At this point, I am up to 30. This latest one is number 34.
Wow, that's a lot of writing.
It is a lot of writing. It is a lot of commitment. And that's why I think a lot of my days disappear, because I start writing bright and early on one day, and 5 days later I'm wrapping up the first chapter, you know?
So until now, I hadn't really heard much about you, but we got a little press release saying you're in town for a speaking engagement about the concept, I guess.
Yeah, I don't call them engagements so much as a experience. It's a speaking experience, because the second you walk in the door in the ballroom, it's an experience from top to bottom, from the highly curated muffins you're going to get when you walk in that door to the fresh squeezed juices that I offer, to the point where I'm obviously speaking is a big part of that experience. And at the end, there's actually a bag with leftover muffins and containers of juice that you can take if supplies are available. It's an experience from top to bottom.
And you have how many? 30 some odd books.
4.
Are those all on sale, or is it just the most recent ones?
No, they're all on sale. We're not in a back order situation. All in stock. Perfectly there for anyone who wants to grab them. Just go on Amazon at any time. You can grab them. They are self-published, which of course is the savings I've saved in self-publishing. I'm passing on to you to purchase those books at a good price at Amazon. We have a 33 for the price of 2 special on right now if you want to check it out.
That's good. And so what does one of these books typically sell for?
Typically $7.50, but if you buy 33 right now, it's $15. 33 books for $15. I mean, you just can't beat that, Josh.
No, that's good value. Obviously, we're talking to you now, and you have these 34 books you've written and published. But where did the idea of the concept start?
The concept started. I, of course, was I'm from a small town called Sandpoint, Idaho, and that was a place where you are just surrounded by dry desert-style sand. Not really much to say about that town other than you really wanted to get out of there. And I had to figure out a way to get out of there. So I, like my father before me, was a long-haul truck driver. Did that for about a dozen years. And at the point where I thought I would probably want to somehow figure out a way to run myself over with my own truck, I thought I got to get out of this. I can't do this anymore. I'm alone with my own thoughts for too long, and I'm not getting those thoughts down on paper. And so I thought I got to help people with the same similar feelings, people in their own lives who want to figuratively or literally run themselves over with their own truck. How do you turn things around? How do you make things different? So I came up with this idea of a concept. And the concept is pretty much everything you want your life to be can be that if you think of it and you make it happen.
Just so I can get an idea of this story, this rags to riches story. You started out doing long haul trucking, following in your father's footsteps.
Yeah.
And now you were living in Sandpoint. Where are you living now?
I'm just outside of Silicon Valley. I have an undisclosed location. I don't get too heavily into my exact location because if my address gets out, there's going to be a lot of people finding out where I am and just asking a lot of follow-up questions from a series of books and talks.
Right, but somewhere near Silicon Valley.
That's right.
In California.
Just on the border of Colorado.
Okay, so you're in California or Colorado?
I'm just outside of Silicon Valley, right on the border of Colorado.
Okay, well, I'm no geography expert. That seems a little far from Silicon Valley, but
sure. But it's been quite extensive. I mean, you can be Silicon Valley adjacent, pretty much anywhere your mindset takes you to. So for me, that's the border, just on the border of Colorado. I can't say what it's on the border to, which state it's bordered to, because that's already too much information for people who want answers from these books. So I'm just going to say on the border of Colorado.
Okay, fair enough. So what is, I mean, you call this the concept, and it's made you a better person, and you've used it personally. What kind of benefits do you have from using the concept? Like, how has it helped you personally?
Personally, it's just really given me focus, something to do. I mean, that's 33 books worth of work. That is at least 15 speaking engagements a year. That is interviews like this one. I wouldn't have any of those if I hadn't thought about the concept. I mean, that's a lot of work that's coming out of just one simple idea,
which is the concept.
That's right.
Like wife, kids, are you living a wealthy lifestyle now that the concept is part of your being?
Well, depends how you define wealth. I don't want to disclose wife, kids. You can create your own idea of what I have going on in my life right now. I don't want to get too much into revealing those things, much like my location. I don't like to reveal a lot of things about my personal life. But let's just say that I do have a series of pull-out couches in my house, and you would not be able to afford that if you didn't know something about the concept and what it can bring to your life.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the nitty-gritty of the concept. I guess I'll throw some ideas at you, and maybe you can let me know if the concept would help with that. So say I have an idea for a small business, and I want to get started, and I need to sort of figure out a direction for that. Could the concept help?
Yes.
Okay, how would the concept help with that?
Well, if I tell you that, are you going to buy the books?
Okay, so can you just give us like a hint, maybe, just to sort of give us an idea, like a tease, if you will, like on the book jacket, they give you a hint of what's inside the book, so you'll buy it. Life-changing. Okay.
Yeah.
What about? I mean, there's a lot of books, 34 books, so it must cover a lot of ground. What about dating? Will the concept help me sort of figure out my dating life, make me more successful in the romantic sense?
Yes.
Okay. A word or two, maybe, to sort of give us a hint of what that may entail?
Well, the particular book I have on relationships, you'll notice there's a quote there that says, "This book brought me my bride." Now, it's a lot of alliteration. Book, bring, bride. But that was written by the one and only Gary Sinise. And you'll see that right there in the quotes in the cover. So you can look at that as a success rate. I mean, that book brought him his bride. How can you deny that success?
So you've got some celebrity interest in your writings. Gary Sinise.
Absolutely.
Found his bride.
Yep.
Any other celebrities who have pitched your books for various reasons?
Yep, there's been quite a few. There's a woman named Kaylee Clarkson, who was one of the biggest Kelly Clarkson impersonators in the Nevada area. Kaylee, of course, provided a quote for me about the book about talent, exposing all of your talents. So that's one to look out for. A gentleman who goes by Nearly Neil, and of course he is the #1 Neil Diamond impersonator. He has one of the books, The New Concepts, out there, which is the book I wrote about following your passion. And that was something Nearly Neil was very into. He, of course, was a dentist who left that because someone one day said, "You look an awful lot like Neil Diamond." So then, of course, that's where he followed his passion. And the quote, of course, on my book is, "I look a lot like Neil Diamond." And I think that just tells you everything you need to know about following your dreams.
I guess it does, yeah. So it's odd that you would have two different singer kind of impersonator people on the cover. Like how did you get into that world?
That's interesting. Well, for a long time, I was fascinated by that world, and I was a Dan Aykroyd impersonator. And that's where I met a lot of these people when I was on the road doing these shows. I just wanted to correct. Did I say Gary Sinise? Carrie Sinise is actually who I was referring to. Carrie's a Gary Sinise impersonator, quite hot on the circuit. You'll probably check him out at some point. I'm sure you heard of him.
I've actually, to be honest, I've never heard of you see impersonators for your Jack Nicholsons, your Johnny Depps, but. Gary Sinise has never struck me as someone that would actually have an impersonator.
It's funny you brought that up because Donnie Jepp, of course, is another guy I worked with for a long time. He was a Johnny Depp impersonator with quite some success. I have not been able to nail down a quote from him, which would be fantastic. So if Donnie's listening, that'd be great. Reach out, Jepp. I could definitely use your quote on one of these new books coming out.
Can I just interject for a second here? You said that you used to be a Dan Aykroyd impersonator. And
that's right.
So were you a solo Dan Aykroyd impersonator? It wasn't like a Blues Brothers team or anything?
Well, the idea of it was, and I'm glad you brought up the Blues Brothers, because the idea of it was, this was a guy I used to call him, it was called Dan Accurate. And the reason I did that impersonation was because I felt that Dan Aykroyd was probably fairly upset and depressed when John Belushi passed away. So when I came out to do the one side of the Blues Brothers, I would come out and and the music would play, and I'd give a pause for the part that John would speak in the typical Blues Brothers. Then I would just do my part. So sometimes I do agree that the audience was a little bit left out because I didn't know what the other half of the act was. I would just do the Aykroyd side of it. Plus the harmonica playing I would do was rather sad and a bit maudlin because I was mourning the death of my friend, which I felt was more of an accurate way that Dan Aykroyd would continue this tradition of Blues Brothers versus what he did in real life, getting people like John Goodman or Belushi's brother Jim Belushi to do these terrible Blues Brothers acts. Dan Aykroyd more accurately would have just done a one-person show. So you didn't try and seek out a Tim Belushi or a Belushi impersonator to kind of tag along. No, that just wouldn't be accurate. Right. So was that how long? I'm just trying to get a bit of a sense of the timeline here. That was after you gave up trucking when you were actually starting on the concept? Well, that's interesting because the trucking, whenever I was going to a certain town to drop off these loads of potatoes, generally, I would try to find a club in that town that would have me come in and do my Dan Aykroyd impersonation show. And that's unbelievably, those are all across the country. People they have a real burning need to see these impersonators. I could slip into any show, and that's where I met all these other impersonators and thought, hey, I'm going to do this at the same time. But I really left that behind at the same time I left the trucking behind because I really want to get these books out. I want to get these books out there, the concept out there, and change lives. And I truly think that was the right move for me. But I do say once in a while, I'll be sitting there and just kind of go, I think I better just get on that hat, sunglasses, the harmonica, and just go out and do a show. So I'll do these surprise shows every once in a while. They were doing a performance of the Nutcracker in Philadelphia last year, and I just jumped on stage and started doing my act. And I'll tell you what, they hated it. But as long as I have a passion on stage, I'm going to get on stage. But if you've ever been removed from a performance space by a bunch of people dressed as dancing dolls, and obviously the ballerinas involved in the show, throwing me out of that performance space was just such a fantastic experience. So I would suggest just follow your passion. If you're at a show, any live show at all, and you feel it, jump on stage. They love it. And then they hate it, and they'll throw you out. But I'll tell you what, they didn't break my spirit. They just broke my arm. Right, okay. So, that's interesting because I guess showing up unannounced, on my end, I would think, I'm just embarrassed to put my hand up or be acknowledged in an audience, but you're actually just showing up to shows and taking the stage on your own. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think if you read the concept, you'd understand why I do that. You'd really understand why I do that. And I tell you, if you need to contribute to something, you need to get in there and do it now. If you double think things, you're going to talk yourself out of it. But if you're in that moment where you're like, I'm going to the show, I had no idea in the middle of the show, I just wanted to jump on stage and try to add to it, they love it. They don't love it, but they should, and they will. Right. And is there, of the 34 books, is there a specific book that covers this aspect of your life and stage hopping? Yeah. The third one is called Get Up. And that's all there is to it. It's like, if you're feeling it, you get up. It doesn't matter what event it is, whether it be perhaps at church, the middle of any kind of like anything like that. The church is great because you got many things, including weddings, funerals. Maybe it's like a kid's first communion. Jumped into a bunch of those and performed as well. Doesn't really matter. Just get up there. If it's a court of law, you just got to break in there and just give your performance. They will throw you out. But in that experience, you will have done what you really wanted to do. So really what it's about is just figuring out what is that impulse I have to get up in front of a crowd at inappropriate times. Is that a thing to do, to follow? Maybe it's for you. Read The Concept, book 3. You'll know. Get up.
Okay. Now you mentioned church. Being in churches, do you follow a religion, or what's your take on religion?
I've tried a bunch. Tried some mashups of different religions at the same time, and I found that nothing really worked for me. And I'm not saying I'm trying to try my own religion. I'm just more still searching it out. But I do recommend some of those mashup religions, even if it's within Catholicism. You just go like, I like this part of this concept. I like another part of this concept. I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of Buddhism, and you got a brand new religion that maybe you want to try. I think that's what it's all about. What they really want, if there is a God, is it for you to have a smorgasbord of things that you like from all these religions and put them in one place.
Well, there'd probably be less conflict in the world if everyone took a little piece of the different religions.
Yeah, and maybe people would be a little less pissed off when you jump up to perform at a funeral in whatever religion that they're having.
Yeah, if I visualize that, I'm not sure that they'd be any less pissed off. Unless, we
don't know yet, do we, Josh?
That's true. We don't.
We don't know yet.
So we've talked about romance. We've talked about business. We've talked about performing. What about family life and dealing with your family? Is there any part of the concept that deals with that?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I do have some children, and they wrote a few of those books. I'll be honest. They have the general idea, and they just went for it. It's not so much ghostwriting as more like, I've got a kid and he's going to write.
Well, okay. I'm going to stop you for a second. So just so I get a sense of what level they're writing at, how old were the kids when they were writing some of these books?
Young as 7, as old as 17. And, I edit them, but I'll tell you, there's wisdom within these children. Unbelievable stuff comes out of them that I'd never thought of before. A 7-year-old, a lot of it's crap, but I tend to weave it into a better way of telling my story through their eyes.
So we are talking with Keith Kittle. He is I guess we call you a self-help author. Like, do you have a title of some kind? Like, how do you like to be described?
Well, I guess it is sort of self-help. I use the term self-help. I double it down because you have to know that you have to help yourself, but you really got to help yourself. Because if you do only have the one time that you say self and self-help, people say, is it just me, or am I going to read these books and he's mostly helping? No, this is self-help. And the reason you've got to know that is because there's a lot of spelling mistakes in this book, and you've got to know, oh, that's what he actually meant, or bad grammar in there, and I want them to say, oh, that's what he actually meant. So you got to really self-help. You can't just follow what you think is in there or give up on it. You got a 7-year-old writing books. You're like, what do they know? Words, they think they spelt it right. Good enough for me.
Okay. So you didn't either have an editor, or you didn't.
Well, I'm an editor. I'm the editor.
Okay. So, but you're saying there's still grammatical and spelling errors in these books.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of books you got to get in a short amount of time. So, I don't have time to really read through everything. I just trust that this kid nailed it.
All right. So you are appearing at a hotel by the airport. I think it might be, is it the Skyline?
The Skyline's right. I'm at the Skyline, and you say it's the weekend. I believe you, Josh. If it's tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow, whatever day tomorrow is. So I'm at the Skyline tomorrow, out there by the airport. If I have to be at the airport because I'm on a plane, I'm off a plane. If I have my private plane, I put it in the parking lot.
Wait. So you have a private plane?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Okay. So you were a little cagey about your wealth and those types of things. So that, I guess, gives us a little sense of where you're coming from.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, I work also for FedEx. So when I say private plane, I'm sort of following the delivery schedule. load and unload some boxes for FedEx. So whatever town they're going to on my schedule, that's my private plane. There's only three of us in total on that airplane. I mean, that's as good as private, right?
Yeah, it's sort of kind of mirrors how you started out when you were delivering boxes via semi.
True. That's actually true. It does keep me humble. But yeah, taking that private jet. So the private jet has got a different schedule. I don't just follow like a simple schedule. I might do a show on the East Coast, West Coast, North, South, another country. You never know. But I try to schedule those much like I schedule my truck driving around my Dan Accurate shows. I try to schedule my shows now around my FedEx deliveries.
If I am a guy coming to one of your seminars, first of all, how much am I expecting to pay to attend?
Well, we do have a Groupon rate, which is $25. But if you put the $25, you get an extra muffin when you come in the door, and you can bring any children you want under the age of 7.
Only under the age of 7.
Under the age of 7. Yeah, and that's a tribute to my youngest kid who's 7. So as my kid gets older, that age group rises.
So next year, anyone under 8 would be able to come.
That's right. And I just, because I do, you know what it is? It's like, that's a fun crowd, bring them in. Kids are, that way people don't need to get a babysitter. So I'm saving them the money. Yeah, the Groupon at $25, and you don't get a babysitter. Wow, you can bring these kids in. It's let me be honest with you, it's a lot of noise. It's a lot of noise sometimes in those rooms. When my kid was 2 years old, I had the 2 and under kids, and these kids they don't calm down. They're not listeners. But it did get people out of the house, which was entertaining.
Yeah. Well, all right. And about how long is one of these things?
37 minutes.
Wow. Okay, so that's pretty compared to some of the ones I've heard about where they're day long with breaks for lunch and those types of things. That seems pretty short.
It is, but I need 23 minutes to get back to the airport to get into the jet and take off again. So I've got that calculated down perfectly. So I do a 37-minute show. That's all you need from me. And then I'm out of there for the 23 to the airport and gone to the next spot.
All right. Well, people can check you out at the Skyline Hotel this weekend.
Yeah, go on Groupon. Get that ticket.
Get the Groupon. It's Keith Kittle. You can find his 34 different books on what he calls The Concept. You can find those on Amazon, or he will have some of those at the seminar.
I absolutely will have those at the seminar. So again, 33 are available right now on Amazon, and they can go for 33 for the price of 2. And the 34th is going to be on Amazon coming up in 2 weeks.
All right. Well, thanks so much for having a chat with us, and good luck with the seminar.
Thank you, Josh. Let me know where I can send those books.
Yeah. Keith Kittle, self-help guru. In just a sec, we're going to come back and play you some stand-up comedy from Sandra Battaglini. Very Italian. She has a new album out called Dig It Is. And we'll also play you a angry voicemail we received at 6476 Yo Josh.
Some people look for a beautiful place, while others make places beautiful. Alfieri Construction has been restoring houses and memories for 20 years in the GTA. They are your one-stop home renovation experts. They handle demolition, cleanup, and all the household trades to ensure your renovation is completed on time and on budget. Every home has a story. Let Alfieri Construction renovate yours. Contact Rob at robalfieri4@gmail.com. That's Rob, ALFIERI4@gmail.com.
This is Records and Rock Stars with Jeff Woods.
This week I'm sharing highlights from my audiobook, Radio, Records and Rock Stars. This time how the classic 1976 song Night Moves came to be with the legendary producer of the Guess Who, the great Jack Richardson, and our friend Bob Seger.
It was Jack Richardson and we were in Toronto. The Silver Bullet was with me. 2 of the members, alto and my guitar player at the time, Drew, had already driven home. And we'd cut 3 songs with Jack Richardson, and it was about 1 in the morning. And I said, Jack, I want to play you this thing. And I want to cut it just with me and my drummer because I like the way I play the rhythm guitar better than my lead guitar player. And I wanted to wait till he went home. So I played him Night Moves. And he said, well, we got to record that. We did it. And then at about 2 o'clock, we had it. And I said, okay, well, we're going to go home. And Jack said, no, you're not. you're staying tomorrow, and we're going to finish it. And he called some background singers, singing girls from Montreal. The next afternoon, we put them on, and then he called a piano player and a guitar player, and they came in, and then we stayed right through the next day and mixed it. That's how it all came to be. Yeah, Jack heard it right off the bat. Interesting thing is, the other 3 songs never saw the light of day, and those were the 3 songs that my management wanted me to cut, but I had this thing in the back of my head, I want to cut that one too.
Records and Rock Stars with Jeff Woods.
KPA Lawyers is one of Peel Region's most popularly rated law firms on Google, and we assist clients in a wide variety of legal services. Whether you're looking for a real estate lawyer to close your housing transaction, or need a compassionate family lawyer who can help you get through a separation or divorce, KPA will have the right lawyer for you. KPA is not like some other law firms that just refer your case to another company. All of our legal services are performed in-house by our team of experienced and knowledgeable lawyers. Learn more and book an appointment online by visiting us at kpalawyers.ca. You can also call 905-965-6263 between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Once again, our website is kpalawyers.ca and our phone number is 905-965-6263.
Stream us live at SAUGA960am.ca.
You got something bugging you? You need to vent? This is your unfiltered megaphone. Dial 647-6-YO-JOSH now to be heard. Talk that rocks. Josh Holiday Live.
Yes, that's the show. On the home stretch here, I'm going to play you an angry voicemail we received. But first, I'm going to play you a little clip from a friend of mine named Sandra Battaglini. She's a Toronto-based stand-up comedian, actress. She has a new album of comedy out called Take It Is. She comes from, it's a very Italian point of view. So I'm going to play you this clip. If you have kids in the car, it's a little racy, but you're forewarned. So here's Sandra Battaglini.
I went on Tinder for a week. Anybody else take a nosedive into a garbage dump? Honest to God, these sites. And it's the name. It's like, what is Tinder? It's like burning wood. Do you guys remember Plenty of Fish? Oh my God, that was the worst, That's like a consolation phrase when you break up with someone. People are like, don't worry about it. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Well, not all the fish in the sea are good fish, okay? There's a lot of sick fish in the sea, and they're on Plenty of Fish, okay? So anyways, I'm on Tinder, and I match up with a guy named Ahmed, okay? And he's like, hey, can we FaceTime so we could see each other? And I was like, really? Now I gotta talk to this guy? But I was like, hi. I'm like, okay, Sandra, just bust through your fears, do it, So then, just before he calls me, he sends me a message, and he's like, what are your measurements? I know. And I'm like, what are you, making me a dress? Right? What kind of question is this? And then FaceTime lights up, I answer, and then he's like this. He's like, oh, nice. 5'6", huh? He's like, what's that in centimeters? I gotta do conversion for you too? And what do you need all these numbers for? You know what I mean? What are you, building me a coffin? Right? Holy shit. So then he's like, how about, he goes, next week you come to my house in Ajax, I make you nice Turkish meal, right? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to come to your house for the first time we meet. What do you think, I'm nuts? And he's like, why not? It's going to be so much fun, cha-cha-cha, right? I'm like, I can imagine I drive up to Ajax, I have this Turkish meal laced in poison, I die, foam at the mouth, and then this guy dresses me in the dress he sold me, right? Puts me in the coffin he built me, and then shoves me in the basement, right? And people be like, hey, what happened to Sandra? Oh, she's just haunting a house in Ajax. She had no choice. You know what I mean? Woo! I love you guys. And then I met a real human person. Okay, I met a real human person. I was on the phone. We're having like hot phone talk. I mean, isn't it? Yeah, what am I, 90? It's phone sex, right? So then at minute 40, he tells me he's naked. And I was like, oh, I would have liked to known that a little earlier. I would have taken my socks off. You know what I mean? Getting into the mood, right? And he's like, it's not what you think. I got to take a shower. I worked all day and I'm hot. And I was like, okay. I said, take a cold shower because it's good for your blood. And he goes, I'm a size 7 foot. He goes, you know what that's going to do to me? And I was like, wah, wah, right? But he goes, don't worry. He's like, I'm Italian. I have a big dick. Right? And because I like to relate, I'm like, oh, I'm Italian too. And I have a big vagina. You know what I mean? I inherited. Mama got a big puss. Daughter got a big puss. Right? You know, there's two kinds of puss, an innie and an outie. I got the outie. You know what I mean? German engineered. Right? Woo! It's like chicks can't lead with that in a conversation. Hey, bro, I got a big puss. You got what it takes to fill it up? You know what I mean? What a way to start a date. So then he asks me what my sexual fantasy was, and it really stumped me. I was like, what? I couldn't think. I'm like, I don't know. It's been 2 years that we've been locked down. I just want to have sex. That's it. Like just plain old-fashioned missionary-style sex, right? Like he's a Catholic missionary, right? And I'm a poor, unsuspecting pagan girl in a Mexican pueblo, all right? And then he shows up, missioning, right? And delivers the word of God. And I take Jesus as my savior. That's my fantasy. Anybody want some? Anybody?
That is Sandra Battaglini. She has a new comedy album out called Dick It Is. You can find it on your favorite services. And I'm going to try and get her on the show in the next couple of weeks as well. It is Josh Holiday Live. Our telephone number is 6476-YO-JOSH. A reminder that your clock changes on Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. We fall back, so we'll gain an hour, but it also means we're going into the darkest part of winter and when depression sets in. And they actually have traced a lot of things, both medically and psychologically, to the time change. Apparently, the risk of strokes and heart attacks increases by 7% following time changes. Number of car crashes tend to increase. And there's a phenomenon known as social jet lag, where people suffer from disrupted sleep debt, mental and physical fatigue, metabolism issues, and seasonal affective disorder. And I would imagine that's amplified living in Canada, the northern climes where it's cold and dark. As I mentioned, telephone number 6476-YO-JOSH. You can call that while we're live on Fridays at 3, but you can also call it any old time, 365 days a year, 7 days a week, all the time, anytime, 24 hours, and you can leave us a voicemail, be it happy, be it angry. In this case, got a call from a woman who I think was unhappy that she was confronted with reality.
Hi. I just listened to your show with some, left-wing quack. You guys kill me. You could spew as much of your bullshit, and you know what? It's only your opinions. Let's get the facts. Let's get debating. Otherwise, it's all bullshit. So you guys have nothing to stand on. keep spewing your misinformation, disinformation, a-hole, okay? And yes, I'm a right wing. No, I'm not. I'm more of a humanitarian than you will ever be in your little toenail. Goodbye. Debating.
Well, that was a fun call. Yeah, you can leave a call like that, or you can leave a happy call if you like, one that's filled with joy and peacefulness. 6476 Yo Josh, the telephone number for this very show. You can also listen to previous episodes that maybe will enrage you or entertain you. You can go to joshholidaylive.com. The best way to get all the socials is to go to SAUGA960am.ca. It's the radio station website, and you go to the show page or the host page, and you'll find a bevy of information on how to get in touch, and you can check out all kinds of things there on the website. I had a fun week. I hope you had a fun week, and I wish you all the best for this weekend, and hopefully you survive the time change.
Turn on the lights, open the shades.
The show's over, but the conversation continues. On Twitter at Josh Holiday, on the web at joshholidaylive.com, and hear missed episodes on your favorite podcatcher. Talk that rocks. Josh Holiday Live.